Your property, money, and belongings can all be seized even if you are just suspected of a crime. How Congress is trying to put an end to this practice, that's coming up next. Now, over the past 2 decades, federal, state, and local authorities have seized at least $69 billion from average citizens like you and me. That's billion with the B. And they only need to suspect you of a crime to snatch property or money, and even law-abiding citizens may never see their cash again. The practice is so egregious that Congress is finally investigating. Joining me now is David B. Smith. He's a criminal defense attorney and one of the top forfeiture experts in the country. David, I'm so happy to have you on the show. I've been wanting to do this topic for months. I think this is so ridiculous that this happens. And I have to be honest, some of the stories and examples that I've seen of asset forfeiture sounds more like a heist than anything associated to law enforcement. How exactly is this legal?
Well, that's a very good question. It's legal because civil forfeitures have been used in Great Britain and even in the American colonies for centuries. So I don't think anybody would invent it today if, on a clean slate, but it has this, historical validation. And actually the Supreme Court has written that in its opinions, upholding these civil forfeiture practices based on history. Of course, Congress can reform the laws, and they have actually. In the year 2000, there was the first major reform of U.S. civil forfeiture law. I helped write that law. But it did some good, but it hasn't really stopped this civil forfeiture juggernaut from continuing.
Yeah, I mean, the law's been reformed, but it hasn't been rolled back. But nonetheless, thank you for your work on that law. And finally, Congress is investigating. Jamie Raskin is the Democrat leading this bipartisan committee. Speaking of Congress, I want you to take a listen to Congresswoman AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and something that she noticed about civil asset forfeitures. We'll talk about it after.
As long as the police can claim that they believe this property is in some way connected to a crime, they can, this seizure of one's property can just happen without any sort of recourse in the immediate term, correct?
That's absolutely true under the federal process.
And then the police can sell your home or sell this property and use the proceeds as revenues, correct?
After the property has been forfeited, yes.
This is baffling to me, and I just want to let our viewers know that some of the money from civil asset forfeitures pay for military-style vehicles for police departments, such as was the case in St. Louis during the unrest there. The money they seized paid for some of the vehicles you saw with standoff in protesters there. This is quite baffling. Obviously, it impacts Black people disproportionate to other people across 21 states. The average forfeiture amount was just over $1,200. These are not drug lords. So my question to you, David, is when the police essentially rob you, because that's what's happening here, agents of the state are robbing you, who do you call? What do you do?
Well, if you have money, you can call a lawyer and try to get the lawyer to get your property released or win in court. But one of the two biggest problems with civil forfeiture is you're not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. And most people cannot afford any lawyer, much less a good lawyer. Frankly, even if you have money to hire a lawyer, it's hard to find a real civil forfeiture lawyer, such as myself, because there's only about a dozen of us in the whole country who specialize in this area and who really know what they're doing. And they're mostly on the two coasts. If you live in the middle of the country, it's really hard to find a local or a lawyer who's expert in this area. I mean, they're almost non-existent, which is kind of strange because there's so many.
Since this happened so right, this happens so rampantly. I imagine your phone might be blowing up after this segment, David. And just so our viewers know, some reasons why people might have a large amount of cash on them is they might operate a food truck, they might operate a barber shop, a beauty salon, many cash businesses, even though we're increasingly going cashless. So, David, thank you so much. We will definitely be revisiting this topic, so I appreciate you. And keep your phone lines open, David, because there are plenty of people who I imagine will be reaching out to you after this.
I hope so. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, if you're looking for me.
I think people from all over the country will be looking for you. So thank you so much, David, for being here. Happy New Year to you.